Hi everyone, join me on a day tour of Sydney. Hi and welcome to Dan's Destinations. I had an opportunity to travel up to Sydney for work, and after work, I had a day to sightsee around the city. These are some of my favourite attractions that I visited on this trip. I took a flight from Melbourne to Sydney, which takes about 1 hour and 15 minutes. I stayed at the Green Square and also had a cooking class in Marrickville. After work, I visited the city, starting from Central Station up to the Sydney Opera House. I started at the Sydney Opera House and Milsons Point, followed by Darling Harbour and Paddy's Market. I also walked by Martin's Place and Radisson Blu before ending back at Circular Quay and then flying out. Also, YouTube says that less than 3% of you are subscribed, so help a mate out and smash that subscribe button. On this trip, I stayed at the Skye Suite Service Apartments. It's located on top of the Green Square train station, so transport is easily accessible and there are restaurants and grocery shops nearby. The train station is on the airport line, so you have an easy and cheap transport to the airport. The rooms are very clean and modern, and it comes with a fully equipped kitchen and a spacious living room. I highly recommend this apartment. The next morning, I stopped for breakfast at Social Society, which is outside the apartments. They make superb eggs Benedict coupled with their coffee. The poached eggs are covered in rich hollandaise sauce on a bed of spinach and paired nicely with the crunchy and buttery croissants. Later in the day, after work, we were invited to a cooking class at Cucina Italiana. They have been open since 1998, and besides being an Italian restaurant, they do run cooking classes of Italian cuisine, and you'll be able to sample the food that you cooked after the class. Francesco is a Siciliano chef with over 20 years experience, and he was our teacher for today. He taught us to make fettuccine and ravioli. He first started by showing us how to mix and knead the dough. The kneading was surprisingly hard work, and Francesco shared that his arm was so sore after he tried to knead enough dough for a large family dinner. The ravioli is boiled and then plated with the marinara sauce. Later, we got to enjoy the fruits of our labor. After the class, some of my friends and I dropped by Gelato Messina's Marrickville HQ for some dessert. Their HQ features 35 signature flavors and 5 rotating specials in addition to their gelato cakes. Gelato Messina was founded in 2002 when founder Nick Palumbo moved from Adelaide to open a gelato store in Sydney. Since then, they have grown in size and expanded their offering to include signature chocolates. One of the reasons for their quality products is that they source their ingredients from their own farms. The next morning, I had the whole day to myself. Taking public transport into Sydney is very simple. All the trains and buses and ferries run on the prepaid Opal card, which you must tap on and off at your origin and destination stations. You can also use Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, or even your own credit card on the readers if you do not want to get an Opal card. I took the train to Central Station, which is the largest and busiest railway station in New South Wales and serves as a major transport hub for the city. The station was first opened in 1855 and operated between Sydney and Parramatta. It has since played a significant role in the development of Sydney's railway network and has been an important part of the city's history. From the station, I took a train up to the Opera House. The Sydney Opera House is one of Australia's most iconic landmarks and one of the most recognisable buildings in the world. It is a stunning piece of architecture that sits on the edge of Sydney Harbour and has become one of the most popular tourist attractions that is most associated with Australia. Originally, an international competition was held to design the building, and Danish architect Jan Utzon was chosen as the winner in 1957. Legend has it that he was at a dinner party when he came up with the idea for the design, and he grabbed a napkin and started sketching. Utzon's design was inspired by the shape of sails on a ship, and construction began in 1959, but was plagued with problems and delays, and the cost skyrocketed. Eventually, Utzon was forced to resign from the project in 1966 due to disagreements with the government over the budget and design. Despite the challenges, the Opera House was finally completed in 1973, and it has become a beloved part of the Sydney skylines ever since. In 2007, it was added to the UNESCO World Heritage List. From the banks of the harbour, you can see Fort Denison, a small island located in the middle of Sydney Harbour, just a short ferry ride from the city's main tourist areas. The island was originally known as Pinchgut Island due to its reputation as a place of punishment for convicts. The fort was built in 1857 and named Fort Denison in honour of the then Governor of New South Wales, Sir William Denison. One of the most interesting things about Fort Denison is its unique architecture. The fort was built in the style of a martello tower, a type of round stone fortification that was popular in the 19th century. During World War II, it was used as a command centre for the Australian Army, and it was armed with anti-aircraft guns to defend against potential air raids. Today, Fort Denison is open to the public as a museum and tourist attraction. However, when I visited, it was closed for restoration and maintenance work until 2024. Next, I took a train across the harbour bridge to 𝗏𝗡𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 walk under the Harbour Bridge to the lookout point. The Sydney Harbour Bridge is an engineering marvel that connects the northern and southern shores of Sydney Harbour. Throughout the 19th century, various proposals were made for a bridge to link both shores, and construction began in 1924, with the steel arches being assembled and extending from each bank. The two sides met in the middle in 1930, and on March 19, 1932, the bridge was officially opened. The bridge is open to vehicles, trains, bicycles, and pedestrians. It is a significant part of Sydney's cultural identity, and it hosts the New Year's Eve fireworks each year, drawing millions of spectators. Visitors can also participate in the bridge climb experience, allowing visitors to ascend the arch for breathtaking views. After that, I walked over to Milsons Point to catch a ferry, passing by the iconic Luna Park. Luna Park is an open-air amusement park with many rides, but I was too early to drop by. I instead took a ferry from Milsons Point to Darling Harbour. You have to tap on the Opal card readers before you board the ferry. On the ferry, I got to enjoy the scenic harbour views from the waterways. I highly recommend taking the ferry at least once on your trip. For a late lunch, I visited Harry's Café de Wheels, which is featured on Anthony Bourdain's No Reservations and Andrew Zimmern's Bizarre Foods. Harry's Café de Wheels is an iconic pie cart that originally opened in Woolloomooloo. They have since expanded to several other locations. For brunch, I had their iconic tiger pie and their hot dog de wheels. The hot dog features a pork and beef frankfurter, topped with chili con carne, mushy peas, garlic onions, and a chili and cheese sauce. The tiger pie is an Australian meat pie, topped with mashed potatoes, mushy peas, and gravy. It was named after the pie cart's founder, Harry Tiger Edwards. No tigers were harmed in the production of this meal. I heard that the proper way to eat it is to use your fork to poke through the mash and break the pie crust so that the gravy and other toppings seep into the pie fillings. You then use the pie crust like a small bowl. After brunch, I dropped by the Woodward water fountain, one of the many art features that line the Darling Harbour waterfront. Hi everyone, I'm here in Darling Harbour, and that's the Australian National Maritime Museum. Australia, being a one giant island with huge swaths of seascape, has an unsurprisingly long and varied maritime heritage. Nowhere is this more exemplified than at the Australian National Maritime Museum located in Darling Harbour. Here you'll be able to see both historical and modern ships on display in their full glory, from the HMB Endeavour, the ship that discovered Australia, to the more modern HMAS Onslow and HMAS Vampire. My first stop was the HMAS Onslow submarine. It is an Oberon-class submarine that was commissioned by the Royal Australian Navy in 1968 and served for over 30 years. During its service, the submarine undertook a variety of missions, including secretive intelligence gathering and surveillance missions. After its decommissioning in 1999, the submarine was donated to the Australian National Maritime Museum and has since become a popular exhibit. It is the sister boat to the HMAS 𝗖𝗢𝗄𝗧𝗏 and the HMAS 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗏 shown in my previous videos. The tour takes you through the forward torpedo loading tube, which has been repurposed into a stairway. In the forward torpedo room, you'll be able to see the 6 torpedo tubes, which are its primary weapons. From there, I pass backward into the crew accommodation areas. The space on board the submarine is very narrow and tight, and it's easy to imagine that submariners need to be small or skinny people by the nature of their job. This is certainly not a job for people with claustrophobia. The war room is where sailors meet to relax or eat their meals or socialize. Similar to the rest of the submarine, it's also very small. The galley is a cooking area and was required to feed the submarine's crew complement of 60 sailors and 8 officers. Walking on, I come to the control room, which controls all functions of the submarine. It houses the sonar station and the diving control station. There is also a periscope here that you can look out and see the Sydney Tower located 800 meters away. This is a periscope, huh?
Yeah, periscope. Yeah, you can see inside as well.
The captain's cabin is supposed to be the most luxurious accommodation on the submarine, but as you can see, it is as cramped as a hostel room.
Oh, the captain's cabin sure is small.
The toilets are opposite the shower and are also incredibly cramped, smaller than a toilet on an airplane. Showers in submarines are typically brief, as fresh water is a limited resource and must be conserved. Crews typically only took 3 to 5 minutes in the shower, with water running less than 40 seconds. The engine room is where the diesel motor is run while at snorkel depth, and to recharge the batteries, which power the submarine when the submarine is underwater. The electrical room is used to monitor the electrical systems and the batteries. This really showcases the reality and tough conditions of living on board a submarine, and it was a very informative visit. The HMAS Vampire is Australia's largest museum ship, and the last of the country's big gun ships. It was constructed at Cockatoo Island dockyards, and served in the Royal Australian Navy from 1959 to 1986. She was decommissioned on 13 August 1986, having spent 27 years in service. She was later presented to the Australian National Maritime Museum for preservation as a museum ship in 1990. The 4.5-inch gun is normally not manned except in emergencies, and is normally fired electronically. The shells are on display and they are huge. bridge is the command center of the ship and houses the captain's chair. The galley and the officers' mess or wardroom is huge and luxurious in comparison to the Onslow submarine. The midship catwalk allows you to cross from the front of the ship structure to the rear. Here you can see one of the twin 𝗩𝗶𝗱𝗏𝗏 anti-aircraft guns. These guns are normally manned by a crew of 3, 2 gunners to control it and 1 to reload the gun while it's being fired. You can also see the shells used on display. The sick bay is where sick and injured crew are brought for medical attention. The HMAS Vampire museum ship is a must-visit for history buffs and naval enthusiasts. After this, I walk over to the HMB Endeavour, which is a replica of the ship commanded by Lieutenant James Cook when he discovered Australia. The replica was completed in 1994 and is now situated here, although it still goes out on sailing trips. The Endeavour replica was assembled using traditional shipbuilding methods and materials and is extremely beautiful. At the front of the ship, you see a hole which is called the seat of ease. It is essentially the ship's toilet. Crew would sit there and do their business. The rope end is used to wipe their behind and then dropped into the ocean to wash it. So I was just informed that this is the toilet where people will actually sit over here, and this is the toilet paper. They will actually drop this over into the ocean to clean it and then pull it up when they need it to wipe and then drop it back down. Walking below decks, I come to the crew mess hall, which is also where the crew hung their hammocks to sleep. The ceiling is extremely low here, and I had to crouch and crawl most of the way here. I made my way to the galley. The Navy didn't provide crockery, and the officers were expected to bring their own crockery, utensils and pots to do their own cooking. The cabins here are also very cramped and had low ceilings, and I wouldn't imagine enjoying my time in here. The great cabin was where the captain and the officers ate and worked. On my way up, I knocked my head on the ceiling. Overall, I did enjoy visiting this icon of Australia's founding, and I do recommend a visit. Further on the harbour is the James Craig tall ship. Built in 1874 in Sunderland, England, she was originally named 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏 before she was renamed James Craig in 1905. She operated between ports in New Zealand and Australia before she was abandoned and sunk in 1925 in Tasmania, as steamships became more popular. In a bid to preserve such ships, the restoration of James Craig began in 1972, when she was refloated and towed to Hobart for initial repairs. She was then towed to Sydney in 1981 and the restoration was completed in 2001. She now operates from Darling Harbour, offering day sails, charters and event hostings. This is the ship's galley, where you learn the origin of the word slush funds. James Craig is of exceptional historical value, as she is one of only 4 19th century barks in the world that still go regularly to sea. After the Maritime Museum, I took a tram to Paddy's Market. Paddy's Market is a bustling marketplace in Haymarket that has been around for over 190 years. It is open from Wednesday to Sunday and offers a wide variety of products including food, clothes, gadgets, souvenirs, and more. The market's history dates back to 1834 when Governor Burke relocated grain and hay traders to Campbell Street in Sydney. This resulted in the creation of a fringe market for food sellers and second-hand dealers. Today you can browse amongst its various stalls for souvenirs or knickknacks, or take an escalator up the Market City entrance to the food courts to enjoy a wide assortment of food. Next to Paddy's Market is Chinatown, a vibrant and bustling neighbourhood that is home to a variety of shops, restaurants and markets. Chinese immigration to Australia dates back to the 18th century, and today Chinatown is a must-visit destination for tourists and locals alike. The area is home to a variety of restaurants that serve authentic Chinese cuisine, as well as shops and markets that offer a unique shopping experience. Walking on up, I passed by the Sydney Tower and also Town Hall. The Sydney Town Hall is a heritage-listed building located in the heart of Sydney that was completed in 1898. The building has long hosted major civic, community and cultural celebrations. The building with its clock tower and steps is a city landmark and symbol of the city, both historically and today, with many tourists and photographers seen taking photos on the building steps. The Queen Victoria Building is a heritage-listed building built in 1898. It was built as a monument to Queen Victoria and replaced the original Sydney markers on the side. The QVB features an impressive central dome, intricate stained glass windows and an ornate tile work, as well as many high-end shops. The building was originally designed to house a concert hall, warehouses and a wide variety of tradespeople, and it eventually became a high-end shopping arcade. Martin's Place is a pedestrian mall that has been described as the civic heart of Sydney. It was named in honour of Sir James Martin, the 3-time Premier of New South Wales. It is a national Australian icon after being used in blockbuster Hollywood films, such as the car scene in Superman Returns and also the iconic Lady in Red scene in The Matrix. It's always been my wish to visit the place, although I doubt Mouths will be arranging any appointments for me with Neo.
The woman in the red dress, but if you'd like to meet her, I can arrange a much more personalized meal.
Up the road is the Radisson Blu Plaza, a historic luxury hotel and an architectural landmark reminiscent of New York's famous Flatiron Building. The building's unique architecture makes it a popular destination for photographers. 𝗧𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗡𝗏 Quay is a bustling harbour, transport hub and a leisure precinct located next to the Sydney Opera House. I was able to catch the sunset view of the Sydney Opera House here. After that, it was off to dinner. Bouillon L'Entrecôte is a French steakhouse located near 𝗧𝗢𝗡𝗧𝗏 Quay. It is a popular destination for those who appreciate French cuisine and a unique dining experience. The restaurant's interior is decorated with French-inspired decor, creating a cozy and intimate atmosphere. The restaurant's menu features a variety of French dishes, including steak frites, escargot, and crêpes flambées. The next morning, it was off to the airport and back to Melbourne. I hope you enjoyed this guide, and if you found it useful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.